in the
Wow, weekend record, and we're getting a little excited.
Yeah. Sunday morning, feeling good.
I know we don't usually do Sunday recordings. Welcome to See You in the Lobby. We are here to be haters for a little bit, talk about the transfer market a little bit. We have a nice little episode planned.
Per usual.
Yeah, per usual. What's going on with you? How are you? We haven't really talked that much.
I know, it makes me sad.
Yeah, we had a long week.
I know, busy.
Packing. If you're on Twitter, that is the only thing I'm going to be talking about for the next 7 days. I will use that as my complaint vault.
I've known Matt for almost 2 years. I think he's moved 3 times since I've known him.
I did the math. Since leaving my parents' house in high school, I have lived. By next week, I will be moving into my 11th apartment.
That's a little crazy.
11th.
Hopefully, this one you stay for a while.
I'm living there for the rest of my life
until we get Bel Air Mansion dreams.
Until we get rich, because the show is going to take off. Yeah, exactly. Should we talk about sports?
Let's talk about it.
I feel like I want to hit the transfer market first, since that's like the hottest thing in college basketball right now. It's just everybody being like, you know what, I want to go somewhere else.
It's like really performing super teams in college,
which I can't lie. Listen, we've been through with Angel McCarthy, we've been through the nuance of the good and the bad, but as a fan for this portion, it's pretty fun. Like, I'm having a good time seeing everybody's top 3 all over again, as if they're not.
Okay, that's corny. That's corny to me.
I'm loving it.
You already had your big recruitment process. Now it's like my top 3. Like,
you are underestimating our need for attention. Do you know how much I would love to do a top 3 for myself about anything? I love attention.
You should have done it for your apartment hunt.
Honestly,
you missed your opportunity.
I should have done it.
You could have done it with your apartment hunt. And we would have all been on edge. Like, honestly, oh gosh, where's Matt moving?
I strung one of those places along too. I was like, I don't know, we haven't picked yet. And like, I had it picked. I just wanted to make sure everything was good.
Got it. So you missed your opportunity.
I did miss my opportunity, but the big one is really Aneesah Morrow. Mm-hmm. She might be the best transfer in the entire market from DePaul. I looked up her numbers the other day because I was just like, I know she tears it up, but it must be pretty fun. 26 and 12 is what she averaged at DePaul. She's probably the top recruit. She's going to make an immediate impact. She announced her top 3 last week, which were, I cannot believe I'm saying this, LSU, who's just on everyone's list, South Carolina, and USC. I'm not even so much curious, Marissa, from like a basketball perspective. I know you can make a good argument for her playing well at pretty much any of those schools. But I'm wondering from just like an overall, including basketball, but marketability and money, like where do you think at this point in time, like where would your head be at for those 3 schools? So
I'm different, because for me, I mean, NIL is such a big thing that would play a factor into my decision, but it wouldn't be like my deciding factor. Okay. I just want to win. I want to compete. I'd want to get to the next level. So if those 3 schools, I'm going to South Carolina, because you look at what Don has built it, 1, and 2, every player that has left that program has such admiration for her that you can only sense and see that she truly cares about her players more than just off the court. So she's preparing these women not only to be great basketball players, to be great contributors to society, whether it's their next step is the WNBA or not. And then, I mean, they won the national championship a couple years ago. They've had 2 national player of the years, and then like last however many years in Asia and in Aaliyah. So I'd pick South Carolina, but with all the hype around LSU right now, you wonder if that is going to play a factor. I mean, they're loud. That's their team. They're going to get the attention because of their loudness. When you have a coach like Kim Mulkey, and then you have, Angel and Flage. So I don't know. I would lean towards South Carolina. I wouldn't be surprised if it's LSU, because NIL is such a thing, and building your brand and trying to monetize the best you can. So it'll be interesting. I would say South Carolina, but
yeah, it kind of feels like that's the natural fit out of these 3 schools. You look at South Carolina, everything you just said, obviously this program is now looking for its next cornerstone to build off of. We had the 4 years of Asia, the 4 years of Aaliyah. Now it's about what's next. And with what did Dawn have, 5 players leave for the W? So they're looking for somebody to fill those slots. So it makes a lot of sense for a player like Morrow, who is a high volume shooter, scorer, that she'd have a wide open place there. And leading that next regime for Dawn kind of feels like an honor, right?
Yeah.
Like, if Dawn's interested in you, that means you're good. You're a good player. So it feels like it's the perfect amount of South Carolina will get plenty of attention for obvious reasons. She'll be the center of that team. NIL money is always going to pour through a Dawn Staley team. So it feels like to me that would be the natural fit, which is exciting, which, I want South Carolina to stay among the top of the NCAA. That's just fun. So I would like to see top players transfer there. Yeah,
and like going back to the NIL component of it all, I'm not sure what her deals are like, but I can't imagine being at DePaul. It's a smaller school that she was raking them in. She has the potential to become a household name. But I remember reading a Washington Post article about Dawn, and they're interviewing her about NIL, and she says she doesn't take a personal endorsement deal unless her players monetize and can benefit from it. So the bare minimum, going to South Carolina, Dawn has your back and you're going to be making some money. And Dawn is one of those coaches that sees the importance of NIL and wants to set her players up. So I could see, South Carolina putting her in positions of success. And with LSU, I don't know her personality, so I don't know if it fits there. And Angel's going to get all the deals. Johnson's going to get all the deals.
Maybe if
Haley goes there. So I just don't know if she would be like fourth on that list. Yeah. Potentially.
It makes sense for South Carolina. I'm very excited. I don't really know how long anyone's like new recruitment is going to take. Even we'll talk about Haley Van Lith in a minute, but I like what is the timeline that even makes sense for someone to commit? What's the reason to wait it out? Like, I don't know. Like, are there teams fighting for NIL bags and that's why you announce a top three? I have no idea.
I don't know. But to your point, maybe that gets the attention. It's
attention, which I more than understand.
Having everybody on the edge of their seat.
Which is good. I mean, for a player like Morrow, who again, like the hoop heads know who Morrow is, but she hasn't been put on national TV as much as half the other stars who we know. So yeah, milk it. Yeah, milk it.
Yeah, and because some of the comments were like, "Oh, I'm just hating on NIL. Like I'm too old school." Like, no, I think there's good and bad about it. And I've said on previous episodes, like player like her, it makes sense to transfer that fifth year and go to South Carolina, LSU, USC.
I think this is her third year. She's coming into.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So it makes sense. Like she developed. And now she's going to a bigger school. Maybe she probably wasn't recruited by these schools. She got better, and now she wants to continue to get better by playing against the best for one of these top teams. So they're definitely situations. It makes sense.
And also, W scouts have been looking at Aneesah Morrow for forever. So they're going to want to see her play against SEC ball. It makes sense.
It definitely makes sense for certain players to make that jump. Like, look at Abby Myers from leaving Princeton and going to Maryland.
Totally.
I don't think if she wasn't getting drafted number 11 staying at Princeton. She went to Maryland, proved that she can play with the best of the best. And
it worked out. No, I think so. You want to ring us in? Yeah. Haley Van Lith, it feels like she's going to LSU, right? Like she hasn't officially announced anything. She didn't have a top 3 list either. One day somebody who was just like, hey, Haley Van Lith is here on campus. And we were all like, sure. She put on her transfer thing not to be contacted, which makes you think she's already picked her school. Angel Reese had that tweet with the emoji that made you feel like it's probably happening.
If that happens, they're going to be the most shit-talking team in America. Like, it's going to be crazy. It's going to be crazy. Like, I'm going to imagine them getting into fights this season because they're going to talk so much shit. People are going to be so annoyed. We kind of speculated this. We talked to Angel about it. It seems like her move from Louisville was because she wanted more attention. She wanted an opportunity to make more NIL money, and she saw what LSU players are doing. Angel leaves Maryland. She becomes probably the most second, arguably between her and Caitlin in women's college basketball right now. Maybe college basketball as a whole, the most well-known name. So I think she saw that and was like, okay, LSU makes sense. From outsider's perspective, it looks like you can just kind of go out there and be who you are, and it doesn't matter if it ruffles feathers or not. So, I mean, from that standpoint, I think it makes sense. I don't know how basketball-wise she'll fit with that squad, but
I mean, without Alexis Morris, there is a spot for Haley Van Lith. It's going to be interesting to see how the pieces go together on the basketball court. But I think you're right. For the game, I think it's tremendous. Like, this is going to be one of the turning points I think we talk about when we talk about the explosion of college basketball. Angel Reese might be, I wish I had the numbers in front of me, but I can't think of how many college athletes across the entirety of the NCAA have more of a social media following than Angel Reese. She might be top 3, top 5 in all of sports. So I can see why Hailey Van Lith can look at that, know what her social media following and her popularity at Louisville was, and think, that could be me next year too.
It's not easy to grow a social, like you have to have the personality. I don't know anything about Hailey. I don't
listen. We've seen Hailey. I'm winning this shit.
But social media is work.
It is work, and Angel Reese is really good at it.
She's very good at it. So I think it's easy to look at what Angel's success there and think that like it happens overnight. Like she's built that. She's been very consistent, and she's good at social media.
She kept several news cycles going. Angel Reese. We were talking about Angel Reese's social media following for like 7 days after they won the championship.
So like you have to have the personality and the content to put out. So like if you go to Hailey's social now, I don't see it translating to an Angel.
Maybe we'll get Hailey Van Lith truly unlocked if she goes to LSU. But I do think it's going to be great for the game, regardless of it. Listen, there's going to be a lot of shit talk. There's going to be a lot of controversy, I'm sure. But I think that's going to make more people, again, care about the league, watch the league, choose a side. And like that's what makes sport fun. Like I think rivalries will be born out of this next evolution of LSU.
Yeah. It's great. It'll be interesting to see what happens. And she goes there, it'll definitely be a shit talking season for LSU.
It's gonna be nonstop.
Yeah.
You wanna ring us in? We do also have a little bit of W news.
I
know that we have a little bit of a lull, like a month-ish, until we actually hit the season. We'll be doing preview stuff soon, which will be fun. But the WNBA announced a new partnership with ION, where they're going to have ION Fridays, where they're going to air the league on that channel, which is interesting. I can't pretend that I am a business person or a TV broadcast expert who understands exactly how this is going to work. I have thoughts. I have theories.
Let's hear your thoughts and theories.
Should I go first?
Yeah.
Okay. The way the W is advertising this is that 103 million people watch ION, and like, I forget how many paid subscribers there are, tens of millions, which is great, right? Like we want more eyes on the league. ION's also seems pretty accessible. I looked it up. It's a national channel. YouTube TV has it. So I think a lot of people are going to be able to watch it. I am not so sure that like 1 + 1 = 2 in the sense that
1 + 1 = 10. Word to Jamie.
Word to Jamie. Because it's great to have 103 million people who have eyes on a channel. None of those people have ever turned on ION to watch a sporting event, which is going to be the real catch here, I think. That channel is for Hawaii 5-0.
Criminal Minds.
That channel is for Criminal Minds. I'm not sure that just means that people are going to give it a chance because they have like an affinity for ION and they're like, I trust ION and I want to watch what ION cares about. I don't think that's how anybody feels about a TV network at all, ever, in any way whatsoever, unless it's like a premium channel. So I'm not necessarily sure I see a lot of people tuning in because it's on ION. It is great that the league made money on this, which we don't know the numbers, but making money on it is great. This deal, it was mentioned in the Athletic piece that it won't interfere with the next round of TV marketing negotiations in 2025, which is great. So it's a short term, let's see what happens. I hope it works out. It's hard to feel excited about it, I guess.
So I kind of look at it a little differently. Like all your points are valid, but I'm looking at it from strictly W fans now. Mm-hmm. It is so hard to watch games at times. You're having to go Facebook, Twitter, Amazon Prime, this paywall, that paywall, go on
CBS Sports
League
Network.
Pass. It's blocked out because this is here. And so I think it gives our fans now another way to watch players. It's more accessible. It's easier. Mm-hmm. Now to your point, yeah, if I'm not a W fan and I'm turning on ION, I'm like, you're turning on for Criminal Minds and shows like that. So I think in order to get those new fans that are flipping, looking for, I think, what is it, Hawaii 5-0 that it's replacing?
Sorry to Hawaii 5-0.
5-0.
That royalty check's going to look a little smaller.
What's going to be really important is the talent that we put on air to broadcast these games.
Very much
because you look at some of the in-house talent for some of these the games that you watch on League Pass, they skew so towards, like, if I'm watching the Wings play, obviously it's the Wings talent. So I think it's going to be very important for these games to put personable talent on there, talent that isn't biased to one team, that can tell some of the storytelling, because you have to be mindful that it is on ION. It is not a traditional sports network. So you are going to have the opportunity to broadcast and market towards potential new fans. So you have to throw some storytelling in there. So I would love to see good halftime content, because a lot of time the halftime content is just the arena grab of what's happening at the halftime. So I think halftime content would be really, really is really important, because again, I'm flipping through the channels and it happens to be halftime and I'm stopping and I'm hearing a story about X player. Maybe I do resonate with that story. Maybe I don't can't connect with it directly, but it intrigues me to say, okay, like I want to learn more about this player. I'd love to see. So I think those things are going to be very important. But overall, it's the visibility piece, right? We were always saying that more eyes need to be on the league. What I've said, hey, ION is the place to be. It's the
randomest channel.
But I do think at the bare minimum, it's good for current fans, because now it's Friday. I know I can go.
I was going to say
on ION and watch the games.
Consistency is good, knowing that. That's always been, everybody asks me those questions of like, oh, how many national TV games are there a week? Like what, because in the NBA, it's going to be TNT Tuesday, Thursday. It's going to be ESPN Wednesday, Friday, ABC on Saturday or Sunday. But in the W, it's always like, I don't know. I literally don't know. There's no consistency. It's all across the board. Having one channel for one day of the week is great. And I think you made another great point that I didn't talk about or really put enough thought into. Whoever they put on the broadcast, which also it's not going to be on ION. I read in the Athletic piece that it's on the W to fill in who those people are going to be. But that's going to be key too. If they make it feel cool, if they pick two people who
two people that keep going,
care about the league, are like passionate about what's going on. So like
Mad Marissa. Shameless plug. See you in the lobby ION halftime show.
ION could be cool if they let some people in. But
contact our agents.
like my email is in my Twitter bio. But it's true though. If they pick two cool people, I think it could feel like a cool thing that we all do. Yeah. But if it's like a rotating rando cast and it's a random channel and it's random games on a random Friday, it's gonna feel a little.
Yeah, because there's even times that I'll watch games on League Pass and I'll just mute them, and I don't mean any disrespect to the talent, because it's hard to do, but it's just like certain talent's not going to resonate with everybody, like especially if it's so biased towards, and again, it's in-house talent, so that's what's supposed to be. But I think this is a huge opportunity on ION to get new fans, but it has to be good talent.
Which sometimes it's not even on the commentators. Sometimes just the feeds.
Yeah, the feeds
the quality is bad. How many CBS Sports Network shows did we watch where the gradient was in like yellow and you're like, you can't hear right? It's
that's a very, very good point.
There are a lot of issues with that. So that's going to matter too. If the quality of the product is good, maybe ION could really get something going here. But I don't know. It was weird. I don't feel like a sense of extreme excitement. I have curiosity. I hope it goes well, obviously. I'm not that much of a hater, but it doesn't feel supernatural.
It doesn't. But again, the league made money. And I think if they do it right, it could lead to, again, current fans. Now we know every Friday where we can go to watch games. Yes, and we don't have all these paywalls and we're being blacked out. I think it's a huge opportunity for the league to tell stories. Like, we sit here all the time and we have, some of my friends on, former players, and we all say the same thing, like visibility in the storytelling. We can't keep telling the same story of the same 5 people, because then when they leave the league,
we're done.
Like, I remember I was like 6 years into the league and people were still asking me if Shamiko Hosal played. Like, where's Lisa Leslie? So like, we have to do better telling stories. And I think this is a huge opportunity because it's something that current fans want more of. They want to hear more about their favorite players. They want to hear more about their favorite teams. And it's a way to bring in the new fans. So I would love for them to, maybe they're starting some short series that airs at every halftime. Like, I think this is a huge opportunity for them to start testing things and really get those stories out there.
True. And you have a very loyal fan base here that's going to like support it. So if ION puts the work into making this a quality show, then they'll have new fans as well. So I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful.
We got faith in you, Dub.
Come on, Ion. Pull through. Sorry, Hawaii 5-0. Yeah, final. Now I can bring out some haterness because I'm still kind of mad about it, which is a crazy thing about a mock draft for fantasy being a thing that makes me really mad. But I was mad. Like the ESPN put out a mock draft with people who clearly don't follow the WNBA, or else somebody would have said this is wrong. Like somebody in the mock draft would have been like, hey,
Tina Charles isn't signed to a team.
So I'll give the short for anybody who missed it, but their mock draft had Tina Charles at number, I think 11 in their mock draft. Tina Charles is not on a team and may not be signed at all this year. Who knows? They had Gabby Williams at number 43 on their mock draft. She's also not signed to a team this year. And they had Skylar Diggins-Smith, number 9. She's pregnant. We don't know if she's going to play this year. We haven't had a status update. So I don't know why anybody would put any stock into this mock draft. Clearly, the people who did it were just looking at last year's projections and numbers and haven't been following the league and what's going on, which is super embarrassing, not only for them, but for ESPN, who is supposed to be the one who has real financial investment in this league and should care about its growth. And ESPN has so many talented people who follow the league and write well about the league who could have done this piece and it would have been solid. But I don't understand what the reason is for putting people who clearly don't know or care about the league on the story. And then the WNBA promoted it and it just got clowned on for hours, and they tried to be slick and they tried to bump Tina Charles back to the 3rd round without us noticing. I noticed. And it didn't work. I mean, not only was the mock draft incomplete and incorrect, there was also no analysis behind it. It was just a straight list of 50 players. And listen, I've been in the content world. I get the need to like start some controversy or like put out something that's like a little spicy. And that's why they had Sabrina number 1. And like, there's plenty of argument for that as well. But the incompleteness and clear like disregard for fans who actually care about this stuff sucked. And there was never any like, and you know, I don't even know what I'm looking for, but there was no correction like given. There was no like apology. It was weird and I hated it.
Yeah, it's lazy.
Super lazy.
It's lazy to have somebody that does not know the league intimately do that. It's like, what was the point of that? Were you trying to get more eyes on it? Were you trying to get a different audience? But it's lazy, and those are things that hurt our game.
Totally.
And more so, like, obviously having Skylar, Tina, and Gabby on there, that's extreme laziness. But Sabrina at number 1 is what really irked me. Because it goes back to we GOAT players too quickly, and we hype and give the attention to certain players. So somebody not knowing the W that's being asked to do this, they're going to go with the people that they hear. Sabrina is who you hear so much about. The fact that Stewie was not number 1 blows
or
my
Asia
mind.
Could be either.
It should have been Stewie and Asia. I'm going to give the edge to Stewie because just her versatility and but Sabrina has not done anything yet. We're giving her all this respect. She is a very good player.
She right here. She did.
But she has not accomplished anything yet in the WNBA to be given this respect. You're putting her number 1 over Olympians, over All-Stars, over Players of the Years, over WNBA champions.
Which I think this is what I think they were going for, at least. It was a fantasy mock draft. So
it was fantasy.
So it was a true fantasy. So Sabrina getting all the triple doubles last year, I understand why you may even be able to pose a fantasy edge for her. But did they not watch any bit of free agency and understand that Sabrina is about to go from being the number 1 option to maybe the number 4 option on her own team? She's no longer going to play point guard. They have Courtney Vandersloot who's going to do that. I would be surprised if Sabrina Ionescu had a single triple double this year, and that's no knock on her game. But just the talent that came in. Brianna Stewart's going to be the number 1 scoring option. Jonquel Jones is going to be the number 2. Courtney Vandersloot is going to be the primary guard. That leaves Sabrina and Benijah 4-5. I think you can put them in either order. So there's no even basketball reason for putting Sabrina number 1 unless you were just looking at last year's numbers and saying, she was pretty good. She's young. She'll get even better. Which makes sense if they didn't sign 3 of the best players in the world to be her teammates.
But even with her... Sorry, go ahead.
I'm just saying that it's so lazy, and it just sucks because this is the biggest platform. There are so many people who can do that job really, really well, but there was just no care put into it.
And even with her having those triple doubles, and I'm not picking her number one on my fantasy team either. Like,
well, listen, go off.
Stewie does a double double machine. Like, Stewie can get a triple double. Like, John Quell, like Asia. These are players that put up big numbers game in and game out. Like, it's just that these are the dangerous repercussions of only marketing certain players and pushing them to the forefront. Because then when you'd have crossover like this, where you're having somebody that doesn't normally give analysis on W Fantasy, they're going to go with the people they hear. I'm sure they did their research. Study, you're right. Yeah, I'm sure they did their research, but they're still Sabrina.
They did their research. Because you would have known that.
You would have known certain. But like, this is like the dangerous repercussions of only talking about certain players.
But you're right.
Like, Stewie is the best player in the world, and we still don't hear about her enough. Like, it's crazy to me.
It is kind of wild.
It's crazy to me. Like, Asia, one of the, her and Stewie are neck and neck for
they're running the league right now.
I'm so happy, Asia has her shoe coming out because
Same.
Like, it was like, okay, Sabrina gets a shoe just like this. Like, Asia's put in the work. She's proven that. So, again, it's no knock to Sabrina because...
Yeah, that's the part that sucks. It always feels bad because you're like, Sabrina has done nothing wrong that we know of as a human, but...
But we have to, you and I talk about this all the time. We have to get better as a society, understanding that you can call something out and it's no knock to somebody. That two things can exist. Sabrina can be a great player. I feel like I'm saying this all the time. Sabrina can be a great player. She can be a very good player, but she also can be getting unearned attention too soon.
Yeah, totally.
Doesn't mean she's, like you said, doesn't mean she's a bad person, a bad player. It's just the fact of the matter.
I think you're correct.
I don't know why my voice cracked.
Because we're so passionate about ESPN's bad fantasy mock draft.
Because it's Sunday morning, I don't have a mimosa yet.
Oh my God, I shouldn't be talking about a blog. How did I get here? No, I think we can conclude it on that because it pissed me off. Yeah. It's silly. It's dumb. You're ESPN. You should be held to the highest standard.
Yeah, it's so lazy.
Therefore, you've gotten the official see you in the lobby roast. Done. Clowns. All right, Marissa, you got any other final thoughts before we head out? I need to get rid of this. Next week is going to be fun. Next week's going to be very fun.
Matt, Bearded Matt. I love Bearded Matt.
Yeah, we have a fun episode planned for next week
Get ready. Then, guys, it's almost W season.
I was going to say, what is it? Next week will be May?
Almost W season. Training camp kicks out.
It's got to be I saw Aaliyah Boston. Aaliyah Boston just got to India. So next, it's got to be soon.
Sunday? Is it this coming Sunday? I don't know. I'm so out of touch.
I don't know. I never went to training camp. You're looking at me.
PTSD from training camp. Guys, those first 2 weeks. Oh, my goodness. Oh, I don't want to talk about it.
You will on the next pod. Actually, that's a good one. We'll talk about that because none of us really know that much about training camp. We'll hear about training camp on the next one too. All right, thanks for coming to our show on the internet.
Peace.
Bye.
I'm gonna dab it out.
Back in the